Thank you all for coming. Cool. All right, let's get to business here. So thank you all for coming to the premiere of, first of all, welcome to my live stream. And again, thank you for all coming to the premiere of my new music video, Paranoiac Mondays. It's the brand new track. It was released on Friday, and now we are here today celebrating the release of the video. So today, you've all seen the video for the first time. This is the world premiere, so nobody has seen it yet except you guys, and now you can watch it as much as you want. Please do. Watch it often. Put comments, likes, the whole deal. Subscribe to the channel, to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. You know, find me on all social media: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, whatever. Pretty much everything's at Rob sBaR. Facebook is at Rob sBaR Music. Everything else is at Rob sBaR. Follow me, like anything I put up, please. And please put a comment on the video. Please be kind. And you know, the more comments, the more likes. Please like the video and all that. It does help the algorithm, so you know, more people get to see it. And the objective is, when you put out, you know, creative content, that you want people to actually see. So the more, you know, the more you guys can do that, please put it up there. So I do appreciate it. Let me just intro this a little bit. Excuse me. Anyway, the video itself, the song is called Paranoiac Mondays. There's a little bit of a description in the information on the video, and it's this video. I worked very hard on this one. You can see there's some horror imagery involved, and there's the projections in the background and things like that. There's a lot going on. So so as far as that goes, I'm here to answer questions. We're going to do some giveaways. I'm going to show you some merchandise that we're selling and things like that in my store. Please go to robsbar.com. You can go to the store. It's on the top heading, and you can buy any merchandise you want there. We have all kinds of stuff. We have really cool things. And, I'm very excited about the merchandise. I like a lot of it. I like most of it. And I have a few pieces to show you soon. And I'm really glad you all came. So I hope that you liked it. I'm going to look at the comments. I haven't looked at anything in the chat yet because I was goofing around with this guitar. But I'm here. So let's do this thing. Cool. All right, good. So all right. So as far as this goes, grab this and move this over here. And good, we're good. Let me see what people have to say. So hi, Karina. Hi, Ivana. Frank, hi, thank you for coming. Okay, Greg, thank you for coming. Sujatha as well. Katie. Dave, it's great to see you. Thank you very much for coming. Frank, there you are. I already saw you there. And Brian, thank you. Brian, I hope you like it. I hope you like yourself in it. Ivana says, great audio and visual representation of any paranoiac day. Congrats. Yeah, I hope so. So it's Paranoiac Tuesday today. Okay. Vinyl Renegades. Hey, Rob. Jersey Joe here. Oh, great. Good to see you. Thank you very much, man. Thanks for coming. And hi, Mom. Thank you for coming. And this is certainly not another manic Monday. No, this is Paranoiac Monday for sure. Absolutely. I have a Paranoiac Monday every Monday. So, Greg, that's my response to you. The sun is mad. Only a couple. You're a lucky man. Exactly, Ivana. Hi, Christy. Let's see. Cool music video. Could definitely see the nods to Clockwork Orange. Yep, there are there, and they are in the last video too. And I will discuss some of my, my influences as far as film and music, and what my creative output as a multimedia artist. And we talk about this a lot. Those of you who have been a part of these live streams before, I'm coming from various different multimedia perspectives, and there's a whole lot of different influences coming from a lot of different places. So I will discuss that. And let's see. Video came out sick AF. All right, awesome stuff. Can you talk about the arpeggiated solo, please? Yeah, I can. Very powerful medley, so positive in comparison to the death metal imagery. Yeah. Maybe. I mean, I'm cutting my own eye out in this, so I don't know how positive it is. I'm, screaming in torture and pain. There's like things happening to me. Hey, Rob. Sonny here. Hey, Sonny. I wanted to reiterate what I said earlier via messaging. I absolutely loved the new track and video. Was great. You're a monster, as I always say. Haha, I am a monster, but some people know I'm a cookie monster, which is true. But thank you for calling me a monster. I assume you mean that's in a good way. Not that I'm like a dictator or something like that, but I know what you mean. I'm just playing around. I was glad to see you survived a whole day of filming while playing guitar. Stood atop a tiny stool. I did. That's true, Brian. You see me on that tiny stool. So yeah, it's crazy. The video rocked. Thank you, Christina. And Michael. Kevin. Hi, Master. It's great to be here. I'm glad you're here, Kevin. Kevin's a talented fusion drum and progressive drummer. He's awesome. Where is my cookie flag? I do have a cookie flag. I'm going to pull it out because I don't even. I should get an endorsement from Levain's, and by the way, it's pronounced Levain's, but Levain's Bakery, because I'm always touting them. Everyone buys them after I tell them you have to buy them because it's like my obsession. Dave, no question, no notes. Loved it. Thank you, Dave. We will have to discuss though, because I need to hear what you have to say, because David Fisher, is one of the most discerning, creative minds. So he will have some very profound insights, I'm quite sure. So that's it. If anyone has any questions, now I think there was a question about, let's see, there was a couple questions. So there was one about the arpeggios and then the imagery. Can I talk about the arpeggio? Yeah, I'll talk about the little musical thing. So at the end, you see there's the solo, and the solo is pretty intense, which goes along with this. It's sort of like it gets to a climactic point, as you can see, and you can hear in the music. I hope, I'm being, I'm, being a bit, you know, I'm assuming that that you can tell. You all have to tell me, but the mood of this music, I it accumulates to that certain point of the solo. And at the end of the solo, I'm doing these arpeggiated tapped type of things. And I think that's what you're referring to. So let's see. Um, yeah, so like what happens basically in the solo is, I mean, there's like it goes into this tapping thing, and then it goes into this very heavy picked thing, and then it goes into these tapped arpeggios, and they are pretty complex. And it's like even when I look at them on the film, it's hard to discern what's going on, even though I'm used to them and been doing that kind of thing for a long time. But it basically I'm tapping out with two hands various arpeggios that I'm following the chord structure in a way. What I'm essentially doing is doing what we call inside arpeggios. So I'm not playing the arpeggio of the chord. I'm actually playing an arpeggio that uses specific notes of the chord to extend the sound so it gets more colorful. Some For those of you who are musicians, I know a lot of you are. If you play A minor over A minor, it's fine. It's just vanilla. And since we have multiple flavors, and I'm not a vanilla guy. I'm more of a coffee with various forms of dark chocolate and things like that. So I like it a little more colorful. So what I'll do is I'll extend the arpeggios out to make them into ninth chords, 11th chords, 13 chords by tapping extra notes. So that's what you're seeing there, or hearing there and seeing. So hopefully some of that comes through. Okay. Let's see. So I have some questions about the Clockwork Orange was mentioned, and I will mention that, and I will bring out the cookie flag at some point. The body horror visuals. Thanks, Dave. I mean, that was, I filmed all of the conceptual stuff on my own. So it's actually me in my apartment with strobe lights and stage blood. I live, in like the theater district. So, this is normal. It's normal stuff around my neighborhood. So, I'm filming basically, with on my own using mirrors because I didn't want anyone else involved. So I have a cinematographer that works with me, and he filmed the performance parts, but all the conceptual stuff is my own. Some of it's animated, but most of it that is imagery that I filmed, and the parts that I'm essentially the actor in, I filmed those as well. I just had to use mirrors and tricks to film myself. And so you see a lot of like, I'm basically unclothed and there's blood all over me. And so it was challenging. And I spent some time doing that. I've been working on this video for a long time. It's been going on for months. And, I'm, as everyone who knows my story, autonomy is very important to me. Having the vision be my own and be completely my own. So my cinematographer knows this, and I basically write up a shot list that's extremely detailed that he just follows. And he said to me on the set, he's like, I don't understand any of this because there's so many costume changes, set changes, lighting changes, and things are filmed all out of order. So he just said, I'm going to trust you because we've worked together on 3 videos. And he says, I'm going to trust that when we sit down to do the editing, it'll make sense. And it did. And I assured him it would. Yeah, so I think it does. But yeah, the imagery is, yeah, like I used a lot of horror imagery, and yes, I am the scarecrow as well. So that's me in the costume. So let's see. Yeah, I know you meant monster in a positive sense. I was just playing Sonny. Monster player, writer, and overall artist. I always admire your insane effort that you clearly put into the music videos and art. Thank you very much, man. That really means a great deal to me. You know, I do these things and I work in a vacuum, and I hope that they translate to others. So when they do, and you give me this assurance, because today's the day. I mean, this is where people get to see the fruits of my labor. Um, when there's some assurance that it's resonating for someone, that means a great deal to me. So I'm very glad it does, Sonny, and I know that you're going to have a fantastic future as a musician as well. You and I have written back and forth about that, and I know that you're heading in that direction. So anything I can do to help, you know where to find me. Just send me messages. I'm always happy to help. Let's see, what did the writing process for the song look like? Improvising, stitching together parts, pre-planning sections written out first. Well, See, everyone who knows me knows I'm incredibly methodical, and you know this too, Brian. So everything is written out. Like the shot list is written out. Everything's planned. That's there's not one note that's not planned ahead of time. There's not one cut. You know, I actually wrote the shot list and the edit list at the same time for this video. So it was already like, we have to get the shot because it's already in the editing list, and this is how it'll be edited. But yeah, I mean, like I had every shot is planned and exactly the timings. So I write down the timings on the edit so that when I sit down with my cinematographer, who we edit together, um, just go, okay, at 1:41, cut this one, cut this shot. And so the same thing goes with the writing of the music, the written word, spoken word, poetry, whatever it is. In this case, it is a poem. And you'll see that when the album comes out, the album will be first coming out on CD, then download, then vinyl. Vinyl's the coolest one, but we have to save the best for last, mainly because of the costs of producing vinyl. But it's it will be the coolest version, but there will be the CD first, and I hope you all buy it, and I hope you buy it for the reason that I want everyone to see really what this final product is about. There's the written word portion. It's a poem called Ideological Explosions of the Absurd Hero, and it's all written inside. And this poem is portrayed throughout the music, and there's visuals. So as you're seeing from the single covers, that each single cover represents the imagery, and it's all in the album. So the covers were derived simultaneously with the album cover, and you will see that it progresses through. If you look at the single covers, they were released semi out of order. The order is actually as it is on the record: Zeitgeist, Novocaine, Dumb Truck, then Paranoiac Mondays, then Brothel, Slaughterhouse Soup. So Zeitgeist is the first one. It opens the whole thing, and if you watch the video, it starts with that theater, and then the theater ends with the lips, and you see the beginning of this one, and the lips come back up. If he's here, Izzy Monsanto is the lips in the beginning, and he's a good friend and he's a good guy. And I really appreciate his help because he really did help out, loaning me some stuff for the video, and I had him do he didn't do the spoken word, but he's the lips, so he lip synced that. But essentially, the poem is on the inside, the art's on the inside. It's a cumulative, creative project that all parts should be observed equally, and as far as that goes. So yeah, everything's methodical with me. It's like I might do some improvisation when I'm working things out on the solo, but then it's written. Once I work it out, it's written, and I plan exactly what you hear. Not sure if you want to reveal the secrets of the masks, but you said last week that there was a story behind the mask changes. Yeah, I will talk about that, in fact. And good job on filming those sequences yourself. Impressive. Thank you, Sujatha. And I'm going to answer your question first. Thanks. You've definitely inspired me further in my career in hopes of taking them off. And I think there is some delay on the live since I am in the UK. So apologies for the delayed response. Totally cool, man. And I know it's late there. So thank you for being up at midnight. Or it's actually 11 o'clock where you are, I guess. But yeah, it's not bad. We're musicians. It's 11 o'clock. Come on. But anyway, so let me respond to the questions about the influences in the Clockwork Orange. There is a Clockwork Orange imagery, which you see in Zeitgeist. And again, if you watch the 3 videos in order, Zeitgeist, Paranoiac Mondays, and then Brothel, you'll see the imagery continue. So the imagery of the lips from the one video continues into this one. The horror imagery of this, you see there's a scarecrow. It's like a horror scarecrow. He's being hanged at the end. And then, of course, this next one opens with a whimsical scarecrow on a guillotine. So it's continuing. The next video will and track is called Urban Deconstructionism. A lot of this, as people have asked me about, is about an internal analysis / struggle in some cases, in this case. And it's the inside world of the individual. Whereas Urban Deconstructionism will take this outside, and the video will be it'll be, obviously it's called Urban Deconstructionism. I'm someone who lives in the city. So you will see imagery from around New York, significant to me. And yeah, I mean, a lot of my influences in this one, there's a lot of, whether it comes off or not, I'm thinking David Lynch and his imagery in the Black Lodge of Twin Peaks. and a lot of Mulholland Drive imagery influenced my approach. Stanley Kubrick always does. So there's the Clockwork Orange. There's also, Eyes Wide Shut, because I mean, there's that sort of like, I have this sort of nightmare masquerade party going on, and that is, we all know from Eyes Wide Shut, the masquerade party. Yeah. So as far as that goes, so there's so there was a question. Let's see, about the mask changes. Yeah. So I mean, this whole album is essentially a psychological and philosophical, ideological, hence the name, analysis of an individual, current society, and the duality of personality and man. It's for those of you who are Kubrick fans, the Jungian thing from Full Metal Jacket. But it's more than that, because it's really multidimensional. So with a lot of the previous, with the two previous tracks, you see a lot of dual images of me, and you see that in the thumbnail on YouTube on both of them. And there was like two versions of me in Zeitgeist Novocaine Dunkirk. There's like 7 here, and so basically it's spreading out, and it's really about multiple angles of personality, and the concept behind this is sort of an analysis of paranoia and anxiety, self-loathing, obsession, and things of that nature. So within the internalization of the individual. So the masks represent various forms of this, and they represent various forms of the personality. So there's several of them, and you saw one of them is the cover of the album. For those of you who are musical, it's the 7/4 section. So the melody comes back in 7/4. So yeah, so there's that. Anyway, let's see. We have David Lynch. Yeah, great to hear that David Lynch name dropped. The inspiration is very apparent. Rest in peace, impeccable master of filmmaking. I agree. Yeah, David Lynch has always been one of my favorite filmmakers. So and that being said, obviously we take our influences, but David Lynch is a master of what he does. I mean, I don't think that. I think that the images of Bob from Twin Peaks are some of the scariest images that I can recall on film. And I don't know why, but when I was when I first watched these things, I thought it was super scary. So I'm sort of mimicking that in some of the imagery, this sort of like screaming and the strobe lights that scared me. So I'm invoking that. If anyone else has any other questions, I'd be happy to answer some other questions. But otherwise, I'll talk about talk about a little bit more about the video and the album, and I'll show you some merchandise and talk to you about. I had some giveaways going on. I mentioned them the other day when we had our live stream on Instagram. Some of you were there, and I'm extending the giveaway because a lot of people said they weren't able to get there, and they didn't know about it. So there is that. But yeah, anyway, the giveaway, I'll just throw it out there. Yes, it really does help me. If you guys subscribe, follow me on all these social media forums, and if you like the videos, click the like. If you like the posts I put up, and basically, anything, any activity that goes on. This is the industry today. Unfortunately, it helps the algorithm, which means that more people get to see it, and more people get to see what I'm doing, and I want it to be seen. So it does help. So what I'm asking for in the giveaway is if you follow me on 4 social media platforms. This one, YouTube, Instagram at Rob sBaR, Facebook at Rob sBaR Music. It's the Rob sBaR composer guitarist one. It's the professional quote site as opposed to my personal page, and then TikTok as well. Sorry. And so Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Send me screenshots that you are subscribed, like, follow, whatever, and then also put this track in a playlist on Spotify, because when they're in playlists, they get around and people hear them. And like I said, and then Spotify pushes it more, so it gets around. So if you do this, send me the Spotify playlist as well. Send me a link, so that I can save it for myself. And then you're in the running to win some merchandise. So let me talk to you about merchandise. I have all kinds of cool stuff in the merchandise store. It's mine, so obviously I think it's cool, or else I wouldn't approve it. But I really think some of it's cool. And I'll show you some things. I have some things, most of which I borrowed from my mother because I own a couple things. And I'll show you what. But here's a T-shirt with me on it. There's one of my shirts. And let's see, what else do we have? I have another shirt here, which I like a lot because it is the album cover and it's my art. And there you go. So this one's really cool. There's also, I'm going to reach over here, so bear with me. I have like a complex setup here because I just got these new bar stools and I'm trying to get used to the way things are set up. This is my mom's hat. It has my logo on it. It's embroidered, so it's pretty cool. And I'll show you some of the stuff that's actually mine. So let me walk around here and grab a couple things that I can't reach otherwise. First of all, this tumbler is mine, and I like it a lot because it's got the album cover and my logo on it, which is super cool. And the thing that some people who would know, because I often talk about this on my live streams because it's one of my favorite things. I have two favorite items from the store. One of them is the mug, which is super cool because coffee is one of the greatest things in the world. And this mug has the logo, and I just dig it. You know, it's just one of those things that I dig. And there's one more thing that I have. I have the earbuds case. So there we go, Apple earbuds, and it's for, you know, they have them for the various sizes, but there it is, the album cover and my logo, and it's always in my pocket, so I always have that available. So, so as far as that goes, yeah, those are just a few pieces, and basically with the contest, what you can win is whatever you like. This is a classical footstool. I'm going to put it down here so that I can use it because I am used to using one. So yeah, so if you enter the contest, you know, send me screenshots of the 4 platforms I mentioned. This one, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, at Rob sBaR Music. It's the Rob sBaR Composer Guitarist page. And TikTok. And send me screenshots of the fact that you're following. That shows that you're following. And then just put me on Spotify playlist. Send me the link so I can follow it, so I can save it myself. And yeah, you're in the running. And we'll do a drawing, and we'll probably do it in that Rob sBaR hat, which is pretty cool, you know. But anyway, there you go. So there's a few pieces of merchandise that I have available. That's all I have here. But there's tons of stuff on the site. There's sweatshirts and various different T-shirts and other things on there as well that are pretty cool. Oh, I have something else here. I'll show you all. I have some pins. So buttons, you know, like, you know, whatever. I think, yeah, anyway, let's see if we can get this in the camera. There's a picture of me on this one with my logo. This is another one with me and my logo. This is the album cover, so of course I like this one best because the album cover is my favorite. And then this is just the logo, so it's a little more subtle. You can put it on your guitar strap. There's my guitar strap. Have it like, say, Rob sBaR on your guitar strap. So yeah, and you know, everything's pretty inexpensive because until, well, we'll see what happens with tariffs. But like for now, it's fairly inexpensive. I keep the costs as low as I can. So please check out the merchandise store. Basically, just go to robsbar.com and check out the store, and you'll see what's there. And there's also T-shirts for each single, which are limited. So the single covers each have a T-shirt for now, and that's kind of a limited thing. So yeah, if you please buy some stuff, follow and like me. Put some comments. Please put some comments in this video and like the video. Even if you don't like the video, like it. Do a like. It doesn't hurt anything. So yeah, so like the video and please put a positive comment, I hope. It all helps. So thank you. Let me see if there's any other questions here that we have here. Writing process, let's see. Let me go up to here. I will talk about Clockwork Orange more, but Clockwork Orange is one of my top 5 favorite movies. As a methodical guy, I have lists of everything, so I know my top 5 favorite movies, top 5 favorite everything. So it is one of my top 5 favorite movies, and it's a book that I really like a lot. It's one that I've read several times, and you know, I really love, you know, Anthony Burgess's use of, those of you who've read it, his own linguistics. He was a linguist, and much like Tolkien, but I just think his are more interesting. Um, and that sort of element of having the glossary in the back and all that, I really like about it. But I think the movie's better. So and Kubrick's kind of a master. So the imagery, and this is what I'm gonna get to, the imagery of Clockwork Orange really hit me. I actually saw the film when I was about 7. My parents were just naive, I guess, but I did watch it, and it was fascinated by this. There's a stark images on screen, and it made an impact. So it's one of my top 5 favorite films. The film itself, I actually prefer to the book, which I love the book as well. So yeah, I mean, it's really significant to me. Okay, I hadn't thought of this before, but I can't remember another case of a concept album. Um, in precise term, I know. No, it's the precise term. You're right. At least one track at a time in a multiple media, no less. That itself is pretty Lynchian. Yeah, I guess it is. And Dave, thanks. It's a great question or a great statement. Um, yeah, I mean, the industry is very different than it was many years ago, where you would put out an album and then you put out the singles to promote the album. Now we put out singles to promote the artist, and then the album comes out after this has happened. So the reason why is because it gains more traction. Now I put the blinders on when I worked on this album, which was for a long time, and didn't think about the marketing aspect. But then when this came up when I was finishing the album and we were doing the mastering process and everything else, I was disturbed by it. But now I'm actually encouraged by it, because what this allows me to do is push this out over a long period of time and really promote over a long period of time. When you put an album out at one time, it hits. And if you don't get everyone in the first period of time, then what do you do? It's time to start something new. Now this is it's a double album, but it's separated into 2 albums. So again, in this marketplace, and even previous to this time period, it's not always practical to put out a double album. You're asking for a lot of people's attention, and I'm asking for people's attention anyway, because my music is complex and to some extent, and the tracks are longer than average. But there is also a 11-minute track I've mentioned called Anthropomorphic Self-Implosion Theory, and an intro to it, which is actually a separate track, but they sound, it's basically one track, but there's a separation. Like if you watch a CD changer, it'll change, and it's another minute, so it's the intro. And so that one's almost 13 minutes. I'm asking a lot. I realize that, to get people to keep their attention going for that period of time. But it's also asking a lot to put an album out anyway and have people pay attention, unless it's pop music. The thing is, people, we have this sort of uh, modern perspective on, you know, because of the internet and social media, on, you know, lack of attention span. Essentially, if you look at analytics of videos online, people watch like 3 seconds. You don't catch them in 3 seconds, they're gone. So 15 seconds is what most videos are. Mine are. That's kind of the standard. And getting people to watch full 15 seconds is tough. Getting them to watch multiple minutes is challenging. So what this putting a single out at a time has allowed me to do is really focus on each individual, not just track itself, but each individual uh, set of imagery and the story that's being told. So I can focus on that, and I can have my audience focus on that individually. So it's actually it's a long process, but in some ways it's very good. Um, and so there is some advantage to that. And so we'll see how it goes once the album comes out. I hope you all buy it. I really do hope you all buy an actual physical copy. It really is the final product. Okay, so Sonny, Whiskey Clone, let's see. What's your process for writing on the song, or just in general? Is there a specific process you tend to follow when you write? Since your music is so chaotic and in most amazing way. Haha. Okay, yeah, I mean, I have a lot of approaches, and those who have studied music with me know that my approach, I have again, I'm a methodical guy, and I have very specific approaches to the way I look at music. And so this could be a very long discussion, but essentially, I see a composer has a toolbox, and we keep adding to that toolbox, meaning that we discover and nurture different elements of the process of composing, and we find different avenues by which to compose. And I'll give you an example in musical terms, because a lot of you people here are musicians. So I always, and this is just at a very rudimentary level, when I'm talking to someone and teaching composition, I say music is something that if we build it up from the foundation, think of the foundation as a beat, which is not always audible. Sometimes a beat, like with an orchestra, is conducted and you feel the beat, but you're not necessarily hearing a drum smacking away. At the foundation level, think of it like building a house. We have a beat, and then we build up the house itself, and that's the harmony. And that's chords and harmony and the mood, essentially. And then when we add the windows, shutters, and doors, things like that, we are adding melody. Melody is not necessary to make a house, but we probably don't want a house without it. So that would be building forwards, essentially, because we create the foundation, we build up. Now, there is a way to build a melody down. So what happens is we start with a melody, those windows, shutters, and doors are hanging there, and then we have to build a house around it and create a foundation. And the way that works, it's a different process. And I can tell you, as with my experience, say, as a film score composer, which a lot of you know, I do that as well. When I'm given a project, let's say it's underscore and there has to be a mood. That mood means harmony. It means the mood has to be dealt with in a harmonic sense in order to influence the mood of the listener. And so I will focus on harmony, and then I will build melody on top of that. So I'm building up. But when it's a theme, and I had a filmmaker once say to me, last minute, I need a theme. We decided to put credits in the beginning. We need a theme for this. So what I do is I write a melody first, and then I harmonize it. So I'm basically building around it. And so and I find that when I do that, you have a stronger melody. The melody itself is stronger because you're building the chords based on the melody. Therefore, the notes of the melody, and if those of you who understand how music functions knows that when a melody itself is going to basically be chord tones. So whatever the chords are going on, it's going to be chord tones within there for the most part. And so we're building around that melody, and then you have a stronger melody as opposed to a stronger harmony from the previous way. So it depends on what I'm doing and how I approach it, but everything is done in a very specific way. And like these are part of the toolbox I speak about. And there's things like counterpoint. And I have my background, as many of you know, is I have a very traditional background in music, and I have studied rock, jazz, classical. I have my master's degree is in classical composition, so I draw from classical music in a large sense, even when I'm doing stuff like this. So there's counterpoint, and there is a section when I'm doing all that shredding that's kind of a neoclassical bit, and some of you might catch that. It's sort of this section that sounds very much like a classical violin etude from the 19th century, like late 19th century, and it is influenced by people like Wolfhard and Dant, and those of you who know these pieces. Anyway, so yeah, so that's just one statement about that. Let's see. You sent a screenshot of all the subs. Am I missing something? Arcady? So maybe. So let's see. Yeah. He always wanted to blast the viewer's senses, and then the viewer would process it however they might. What it meant of him wasn't what it had meant to us. Do you have the same intent for yes, Dave? So yeah, I mean, essentially yes. I mean, what I've always been focused on is this sort of like sensory overload experience, which is why, from a multimedia artist perspective, I want this to be digested as a video, as a music with the imagery, the performance art aspects, the written portions, and hopefully it'll all be essentially handled that way. So so essentially you're being overwhelmed in a sensory way, and the music, each element, everything that's going on is so complex, that each thing kind of requires attention. But then we have a whole bunch of them, so they each require attention separately, but hopefully together. Now, I realize I ask a lot of my audience to pay attention to these things, but yes, I do have the same intent with this project. Essentially, is to essentially, as you say, blast the viewer's senses. So it is effectively that way, but it's almost, in a way, I can't help but do that because because I have a complex way of viewing the world. I'm overly analytical. I joked last time that it's like when in gangster movies they always like have a gangster say something like "Don't tip, over tip." For me, it's like don't think, overthink, overdo everything. So that tends to be the tendency. And so no matter what, when I'm honest with my output, it's going to be very detailed. And I tend to be very fastidious about all the specific details and elements of each portion. So I focus very hard with the blinders on the written part, on the visual parts, on the musical parts in every way. So it's kind of where I'm coming from. The mug is friggin' sweet. I hope you get one. I really love the mug. The mug's like my favorite thing. Everyone knows that who's come to these things, I'm always like thrilled about the mug. It just came out really cool. I totally dig it. So I'm very happy with the mug. Thank you for that. You like the hat? Buy the hat. The hat's cool. Um, haha, the mug, classic. I gotta get one for myself. Do get one, please. Um, you have to purchase a piece of your merchandise. Heavy coffee drinker. It is a musician thing. Musicians love coffee. It's like my favorite. It's my top favorite flavor amongst my 7 favorite flavors. Yep. See, I have lists for everything. But number 1 is coffee. It's my favorite flavor. Um, there's so many interesting details in the video. I would like to know more about the scenes during the filming, what we didn't see. Yeah, behind the scenes stuff. So, I mean, it was a hectic day. It was a really complex day. Those of you so there are some people who were there. And so it was the most complex one I've done. First of all, there are 7 people performing. That is on purpose. There are 7 masks. There are, 7 different versions of me. So yeah, so it's like the faith of the 7 for those of you who know. Those of you who know. So yeah, a lot of people involved, and keeping everyone straight and knowing what they're doing. And this, like I said, the shot list itself was super complex. So I had to organize the shot list in the most practical way. And there was no really practical way to do it. There was no absolute, sort of um, obvious way of handling this. Because no matter what, I had to change my clothes after every shot. And so I have a friend who assists me on these sets. He's a great guy, and he basically would take my guitar. I'd be flipping things over, and if you notice, there's one point, and we filmed several, but there's one in the video in the beginning where I disappear and reappear. So things like that, we'd film those parts where I would disappear, and while I'm doing that, I would run and put another costume on, and then we'd do it again, reappear. We had to use a stationary camera for that so that the shot is seamless. I hope you all saw that. If you don't, hey, I think you should watch the video 100 times. Maybe you'll catch all the details. But there in the beginning, I disappear and reappear. And so when we did that, I would be like, okay, film them. I tell the cinematographer, get them, and I'll be throwing clothes on. And then the makeup, there was makeup all over my hands. If you look very closely, you'll see the makeup on my fingers. There's like black makeup because I had a lot of black eye makeup and lipstick going on and things like that. And all these different outfits. And my earrings fell off about 100 times. I had to find them on the floor. So it was a lot of changing costumes, a lot of passing my guitar over. And some people know, we talked about this last time, the guitar got smashed during this filming at the very end. So I was about to film the last portions and it hit the ground, but I had the whammy bar in and it worked as a shock absorber. So it hit face forward. And those of you who know from last time, it smashed the bridge and the bridge came out halfway and it was stuck there. And it actually saved the wood because otherwise it would, if the bar wasn't, it would have smashed the wood. And as you can see, the wood is not undamaged. I picked it up and I had to get it into position the best I could to finish the shoot. And if you notice the shot where I'm wearing the nose mask and and I'm playing this harmonic and I go like this, there is a bash right here that no longer is there. And you can see it in the video, which I always remember that. It's kind of like, it's funny to me, but it was right there. That was the only bash. And the other was like right here. But it was very small. It's because the bridge hit it. And I brought it to my tech. He did an amazing job. He actually saw that I needed fretwork, so he did the fretwork. He set up better than it's ever been set up. The bridge is set up better than it ever was. He fixed all the paint on those 2 spots, and it's fine. It's better than ever, actually. It's the action feels great. But it was a complex day of doing this kind of thing. So we had multiple different sets. You see, there's the set where there's the projection, which the projection I spent months on. And you only see part of it. So I might actually release a video with the projections wherever that is, where it's not me performing on those sections, but you just see the full projection, full screen, so you can see what the images are, because they all work in rhythm. With you might notice that if you watch, they're working in rhythm, and so when there's like a lick where I go, you'll see the images moving with it. The images move with all of the activity musically. So that would took a long time to edit that, and I did that completely on my own. That had nothing to do with anyone else. So I just sat here and did all. That's all me. So there's the projection sequence. Then there's the then there's uh, the part where basically you see the band without the string players and the lights behind us, almost like a baseball field. Those are called strike four lights for those of you who know about this kind of thing. And there's that sequence there, and then there's in the round. So the 360 shot, which is actually influenced by a couple of Chris Nolan movies, I want to do a shot like that. That part where it's like the middle part, that sort of dun 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 dun, dun eighth note. It's like a, for those of you who are musical, it's 3/8, 4 times, and then 1 bar 4/8. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 4. And so it's, there's a lot of odd time signature stuff going on. But the shot was a 360 shot that my cinematographer was on a Segway doing. And I planned that out because I really love this shot that Chris Nolan, it's not really a Chris, it's really, I think, a Wally Pfister thing. Wally Pfister is his was his cinematographer. And in The Dark Knight, when they're on the rooftop, you have Gordon, Batman, or Bruce as Batman, and Harvey Dent, pre, Two-Face. And they're all discussing, and there's the bat signal. And it's a 360 shot around them. And it creates this great tension that makes me feel, and the music, the Hans Zimmer, eighth note thing, just like what I have there, and it really adds to the tension of that scene. But it's also in The Prestige. There's a section. It's not as tense, but it is still gives that energy, which is a movie that came out before it. Came out between the two Batman, first and second Batman films. But there's a shot with Hugh Jackman, Christian Bale, and Michael Caine where he does the 360. And so pretty sure it's a White Pfister thing because I haven't seen it in his film since then. That's kind of what influenced that to do that. So you have multiple different scene sets, multiple different lightings. The lighting for that was above, and we used a fog machine, so it would create that atmosphere, which is really cool. And my face looked very dark. So yeah, there was a lot of interesting stuff, but it was a long, complicated day. Anyway, let's see. Will I also enter your giveaways? Will also enter your giveaways. Why not? Good luck to everyone else who enters. Yeah, please enter the giveaway. Buy stuff too, because you gotta have a mug and a shirt. You only get one thing if the giveaway. So yeah. Oh yeah, tariffs. Completely forgot about that. I don't understand too much about that, honestly. Well, we'll see what happens. Some of the shirts and things come from overseas, but for now, it's still fine according to my the distributor of the clothing. So for now, we're still okay. So you can get the stuff before that changes. Let's focus on self-mutilation. What inspires you? Well, see, it's a manifestation, physical manifestation of this sort of internalized anxiety, stress, paranoia, self-loathing, things of that nature. So this is one aspect of the individual personality, and I'm illustrating that. Obsession is a big part of that, and obsession is a big part of this whole story and a big part of my life. So as you can see, I mean, look at how my creative output, how every detail, so so obsessive behavior is something that is very familiar to me. So the self-mutilation just kind of is something that illustrates this sort of feeling, this emotion, this internal struggle. It's not something. It's supposed to represent the internalized anxiety and frustration, obsession, and paranoia. So yeah, that's where that's coming from. So let's see. So okay, then we have speaking of what you were saying about feeling the beat with an orchestra. Yeah, I mean, an orchestra doesn't always have a drummer, or there's timpani, but it's not necessarily banging away a beat the way we do in rock music or even jazz, where we have that. So in orchestra, you feel the beat, but that's why we need a conductor. So everyone's together and showing where the beat is. So it's like simple 4/4 conducting like this: 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Then we feel where it is. It's 1 2 3. If it's 3 4, it's like that basically. And there's a way of conducting that. And so we feel like that's what the conductor's job is to do: is to make sure everyone's on the same page and feeling that beat. And then the music is written and you feel it, but you don't necessarily hear someone banging away a drum. So that's where that's coming from. Okay. I have to go, but congrats again. Thank you, thank you, Suji. I appreciate it. It was really felt here in the video recording, even during the live stream as you were soloing and playing over the background track. Very much felt. I'm glad it was. Thank you. With all the subscriptions is what I meant. Subscriptions regarding. Let's see, subscriptions. Did I miss something here? Oh, the subscriptions. I got you. Subscriptions. Thank you. Okay, greetings from Serbia. Hello, Serbia. Thank you. Always, we love Serbia. As I said last week too, it's awesome to see your vision come through in the music and the videos as well. Concept of the music and the album coming through. I mean, great. Thank you very much, Brian. I really appreciate that. I really hope that these concepts come through. And you see, the dual imagery on the mug. We have like, this the duality thing, and it's very different perspectives. I mean, we have sort of the pop art angle and then the more abstract expressionist, but to some extent, which is two of the places I come from. And I think we spoke last time about some of my visual art influences. So yeah, and those are coming from some of them, and and that kind of thing. So yeah, so I mean, as far as that goes, there is like a lot of different things going on here, and I hope that it comes through. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I really hope everyone watches the video multiple times and does a little, checks out some of these things we're talking about. Take a look if one of the times you watch and look at what's going on the screen behind. You'll see a lot of images of me being tortured, and yeah, I'm a Gemini too, Brian, and that's part of that's part of the deal, and it is part of my. That was part of my plan. So yeah, I am a Gemini, June 19th. For anyone who wants to send me a gift, and I do take Levain's cookies, spelled Levain's, Levains. So if you want to send me some Levain's cookies, totally cool. So yeah, or you want to send me anything else, that's totally cool. Just say hello and happy birthday. But yes, it's June 19th, which is at the right of the end of the Gemini thing. So, but there you go. But yeah, so there is, the duality. But again, like I said, it's really a multiple analysis of multiple personalities and elements of that. Does anyone else have any other questions? So I showed you some of the merchandise. Please go buy some merchandise. Please enter the contest. Again, I'll reiterate that. So basically, subscribe, like, follow on 4 platforms. This one, big one. Facebook, Rob sBaR Composer Guitarist page, which is at Rob sBaR Music. It'll say Rob sBaR Composer Guitarist. That's the one. That's the professional page. So the Facebook, Instagram at Rob sBaR. Everything is at Rob sBaR. YouTube at Rob sBaR. TikTok, it's at Rob sBaR too. So those 4: TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. And send me a screenshot of each one, and then send me, and then put me in a Spotify playlist, this track, and send me the link so I can save it too. And I'll put you in the running, and we'll take all the names, and we'll put them in this hat, my mom's hat, and we will pick a name out, and you will get whatever piece of merchandise you want from my store. And so yeah, some of the stuff I think is pretty cool, and the stuff I can tell you the quality is good. I was surprised because you never know when these things were sent, and the people who have contacted me and shown me pictures, they say the quality is good. So please buy something. Buy a pin and stick the pin with the album cover on your guitar strap. It's super cool, and promote the album pre-release, and then definitely buy the album. I hope everyone does. But yeah, please like, subscribe, do all those things. Like the video. Please put comments in the video. Go back to the video and put a nice comment. I would really appreciate it. And then let's see what everything. I have some stuff written down here, so let me just take a look to see if there's anything that requires my attention here. So we talked about all those things, an explanation of the album and the single, and merchandise giveaways, and let's see. Yeah. So let's see. Does anyone else have any other questions? Let's see. The shirts have held up well in the washer. Good, good. Um, since the album is conceptual, can you single out 4 or 5 main thoughts or ideas that form the core of the album? Wow, that's a tough question. But yeah, so there is actually a description of what I'm going for within the liner notes, but you have to wait for the album. And I can, kind of give you some idea of that as well. But basically, it's like I said, it's a two-part um, multimedia project. It's in 2 albums. Like I said, it's a double album, but releasing a double album doesn't make a lot of sense. So this is the first one. The second one is called Zen and the Absurd, which will be released after Ideological, once I get through those singles. So it's going to take some time, and videos, because to me, there has to be a video for each track. Some of the videos will be released after. They won't be released as singles after the album's released. So for this, basically, there's going to be one more video for urban deconstructionism, and then anthropomorphic self-implosion theory, which the intro is called The Birth of Liquid Prophets. This is actually the B side of the album if you buy it on vinyl. So the first 4 tracks, Zeitgeist, Novocaine, Dumb Truck, Paranoiac Mondays, um, then Brothel Slaughterhouse Soup, and then Urban Deconstructionism is side A, which is called Knowledge. And then Brutality is the second side, and it's B side. And that's basically kind of like these 2 long pieces. It's basically The Birth of Liquid Prophets, which is 1 minute, but it's attached to anthropomorphic self-implosion theory, which is one big track. It's really 1 minute plus 11 plus, so it comes to almost 13 minutes. And then the last track is Ideological Explosions of the Absurd Hero, which some of you have heard me speak about, but it's an orchestra piece. It's full orchestra with electric guitar and a drum kit. So that, to answer that question about the orchestra, does actually have a drummer smacking away. And so that track itself will have, they'll all have videos, but the album will be released when the video for Anthropomorphic is released. It won't be released as a single, Anthropomorphic Self-Implosion Theory, because it's too long. First of all, it has to be released with Birth of Liquid Prophets. It's 2 tracks. Second of all, it's too long. I'm hoping you all pay attention to that, long enough to listen through it. I think it's very listenable. It's not as avant-garde as some of them. It's more epic, and I hope you listen and I hope you dig it. So yeah. So as far as that goes, yeah. So anyway, this will be released simultaneously when that video is complete. And then after the album's out, Ideological Explosions of the Absurd Hero, the actual track, which is the orchestra piece, will be released as a video, but it won't be released as a single. And so as far as that goes, let me go back to what the question here. Yeah. So as far as that goes, we have like all of these various elements that portray the first half, which is Ideological Explosion of the Absurd Hero, and then the second half is Zen and the Absurd, which are a little different. And this Zen of the Absurd has more extremes, and what I mean by that is there's much more accessible stuff and much less accessible stuff on it, and there isn't in the middle. It's a donut, so there's like a hole in the middle where there's, I think, Ideological fits in. So I don't see it as this to this. I see it as this with this in the middle, filling up that space. So as far as conceptual goes, like I said, there's the duality of man, the multiple personality of man, the sort of exploration of obsession, the exploration of paranoia in this case, the exploration of manipulation, which we see in Zeitgeist, where there's essentially this sort of dystopic manipulation going on. As you see the screen, very Clockwork Orange, as somebody pointed out. And one of the things you'll notice if you watch that video is that at the very end, when we move away from the screen in the theater, the entire screen that you're watching shakes with a glitch. There are glitches in that, and there are glitches in this, like we're watching it through a TV. The only issue, though, is what we see is we go towards the screen in Zeitgeist, and we get into the screen, and there's glitches throughout, as if you're watching something through a television. But as we veer back out the end, we pan out, and we're in the theater. We are watching from a theater. The glitch doesn't happen on screen, it happens everywhere, which means we're in there. So those of you who are fans of postmodernism and Gravity's Rainbow and David Foster Wallace's Infinite Jest, might see some similarities there. And I did mention those two books last time. But yeah, so you'll see basically as if we're not out of that screen. It backs up and it's like you think you're watching the screen, but then you realize you're in it. And then it starts with the screen itself glitching, and we're in it. We are in that sequence for this video. And there's glitches throughout. And that it keeps glitching, and I keep disappearing, reappearing with different appearances. So you're getting these sort of personalities, but it's in a haphazard way where it just keeps glitching, and there's a new version of me. So it's supposed to represent that sort of chaotic paranoia, that sort of fear, that sort of um, you know the anxiety where when somebody experiences that, things could be glitching all over their lives, and they're just seeing the world reappearing and appearing, and it's supposed to feel tense, and hopefully it does. Of all the songs you have recorded, do you have a favorite and why? My favorite of yours is Lexical Gap. I wouldn't have a problem placing it in my top 10 guitar instrumentals of all time. Wow, thank you. I like a Lexical Gap. I have trouble with that album because it never quite, production was never quite what I wanted it to be. But that track I think is kind of a cool track, and I always kind of dug it. So I'm glad you like it, and thank you for saying that. I guess it's an artist always likes what they're doing at the time. So whatever it is I'm working on is the thing I'm happiest with. So I'm into Paranoiac Mondays this week. When I was putting Zeitgeist out there, I was into that, and when I put Brothel out there, I was into that. So whatever it is, I mean, I guess in a way, I mean, I don't listen to them until I have to, at this point, which means I haven't listened to Urban Deconstructionism, The Birth of Liquid Prophets, Anthropomorphic Self-Implosion Theory, and Ideological Explosions of the Absurd Hero since we mixed them. When I do, I'll probably be into those. And something tells me Anthropomorphic Self-Implosion Theory, because I don't know, it's long and it's got a lot of stuff going on, might be the one that I would choose, but it's self-indulgent. There's a lot. It's a long track. So who knows? But yeah, I'm glad you like Lexical. I mean, that's I always kind of dug that tune. And so yeah, it kind of opens the first record. So yeah, cool. Does anyone else have any other questions while we're here? So if you do, I'd be happy to answer anything else. And again, I'll reiterate all the stuff if not, but I'll reiterate everything I want you to know, and I'll do some playing. So if you're interested in seeing some playing, it'll be there. I always finish these things with some playing. I start with the playing, I end with the playing. Production-wise, I feel that the album is definitely very raw and primitive. However, I feel it adds to the charm. You're speaking about my first album, Wagon Wheels and Atom Bombs. How would you say you've changed from then to now in terms of playing? I'm a very curious person. I hope you don't mind. No, I love the questions, man. I'm so glad that you're participating. I'm happy to answer questions. I can talk about these things all day. I could talk about art and expression and creative content and output endlessly, and I'm happy to do it if you have questions. So keep them coming. But yeah, I mean, the production itself is a little more raw. It's more of a fusion kind of production in that it feels more like guys in a room playing, as opposed to it being the way that jazz is often recorded, where it's guys in a room playing. But like it has more of an element of that. There's less overdubs, and there's some, but it sort of has, and it was recorded that way. It was recorded more where we all went into a room and performed, and then I did my overdubs afterwards. So it does feel more like that kind of like live fusion thing. And we recorded all the overdub guitar in one day. So that album, that's what I mean. Like, the production isn't exactly what I wanted it to be. Like, I just basically stood in the control room when I did all the overdubs and just recorded all the lead guitar. Just like play through. Let's go to the next tune. Let's go to the next tune. So it's just what it is. I'm just doing my thing. And so it was just one long day. I stood the whole day. I remember that. And so it didn't turn out exactly as I wanted, but it is what it is. It's a different kind of record. And this one is very, very planned, very methodical. I wanted every note to be exactly what I wanted it to be. every element of the written part, every element of the conceptual, the visual parts, everything else to be exactly as I perceived it, and I didn't want there to be any question about that. So, yeah. So, as far as that goes, um, yeah, that's kind of the way this was being approached. So, yeah. So, it's a different production. It's a different type of production. I would have probably preferred it to be a little less raw in that way, and that's why I think the material's solid. I just feel like I would have liked to present it in a slightly different way on that first record. This one, it's the way I want it to be heard, and I feel good about putting this out there as it is in this day and this era. Does anyone else have any other questions? Uh, what's what, for example, what are I, what are the best Italian restaurants in New York City? What what are my top 5 fictional characters? What are those 7 flavors that I mentioned? Or anything about guitar, music. Last time we talked a little bit more about music and the guitar than this time. Um, so, you know, but please, if you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer them, conceptual or otherwise. And otherwise, I'm going to reiterate the things that I'd said before, and I'm going to do a little playing. And congrats again. Thanks for letting me be a small part of it. Brian, you're going to be a small part of the next one too, so get ready. um, yeah, so Brian was great. Brian is, you see him in the video. He's playing the bass. So yeah, and he was fantastic. And so I'd love you, to join me. Yeah. So anyway, like I said, we have merchandise. Go to my robsbar.com and go to the store, and you'll see the merchandise there. I'm also doing a giveaway, so you can receive a piece of merchandise. So that simple as this: follow, like, subscribe, whatever it is for each platform, on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook professional page, the Rob Spar Composer Guitars, which is at Rob Spar Music. The rest are at Rob Spar. Send me a screenshot of all of them, and then put me in a spot. Put Paranoiac Mondays in a Spotify playlist, and send me this link to the playlist so I can save it as well. And then you're eligible to win a piece of merchandise. I'll put names of people who did in this Rob Spar hat, and we'll pick one out, old school style, and you can win merchandise. But buy something, buy a mug. The mugs are really cool. Buy a shirt. The shirts are pretty cool, and the hat is pretty cool. But it's got the album cover on this one, which I think has turned out really nicely. And then if this one seems to have been purchased many times, but this is me. And there's the guitar that I'm holding right now, which is the main guitar, and it's got my logo on it. For those of you who are curious, where am I? I do everything. Like, I'm very much about New York, so I'm very happy to be here. So I like the scenery of the city, and that was done in Soho. That photograph, which a lot of the photographs were done in down in Soho. Those of you who know New York City, so it's downtown. It's like one of these cobblestone streets. It's really cool, and it's somewhere I feel very comfortable. So that's where that was shot. So you see sort of like some of the other photos you'll see when the album comes out. Brian, let's go. So yeah, so you'll see some of the cool cobblestone streets and that sort of like, those sort of warehouse buildings that they have down there. So it's really cool. And so anyway, we have merchandise. We have this contest. You can win something. And please watch the video repeatedly. Put a nice comment. Like the video itself. Put like and subscribe to all these pages. Like the stuff I put up. Follow these things. It helps. Every comment, everything does help for the algorithm. So I do appreciate it. Would you ever revisit any material from Wagon Wheels and Atom Bombs for the future? Would be amazing to hear lexical gap in the context of a full orchestra arrangement. Yeah, I mean, that is part of the plan. So yeah, I mean, there will be, I'm working on that. Hopefully there will be at some point a live performance with orchestra. I'm putting it out there in the universe, but Let's see what happens. So I don't know when that'll happen. I don't have any reason to say that it's going to happen anytime soon. But um, but I that is part of the at least what I my intention, my goal is to have live performance of the material on ideological and some of the previous material with orchestra. And so lexical gap would be one that I would bring back for that. So it's absolutely true. That is one that I would orchestrate. So that we'll see how that works. So uh, as some of you know, I'll be the guy conducting with the guitar on, and then you play the guitar parts. But you have to have two conductors when you're a guy like that. So I'm a conductor, but I'm the guitar player too. So I conduct the parts that the more complex parts when I'm not playing, but when I'm playing, there has to be a conductor that walks in. So we'll see how that goes, but maybe that'll happen. Jesse, welcome. I hope you check out the video a zillion times and like it. Put some cool comments. Am I planning to shoot a video in the streets of New York? Actually, I am. The next video. So, urban deconstructionism will be shot in the streets of New York, and I'm working on some things right now. We'll see how it goes, but there will be some. It will be filmed not in a studio like you're seeing in this context of this one. This one's going to be out on the streets, so it will be a whole different kind of thing. It's called urban deconstruction. You can't film a video called urban deconstructionism in a studio. It doesn't make any sense. So it will be on the streets of New York City and specific places that are significant to me, including that neighborhood I spoke about, Soho, which will be a big part of it. And Houston Street will be a big part of it. It's already part of the plan, which those of you know, Soho, if you're not from New York, Soho means south of Houston Street. And that's where there's like a lot of the fashion industry, but it used to be. It's very significant to me because it's where the art scene was in like the 60s, 70s, 80s. That's where like, the Warhol, Jean-Michel Basquiat, Keith Haring, Julian Schnabel, all these artists were living there because they were warehouse buildings and it was cheap. They could get, for artist studios. And so if you've ever seen the Martin Scorsese film, which was another thing that made me want to move to New York, After Hours, where Griffin Dunn is running around Soho and there's all these artists and wacky personalities. I thought, when I saw it as a kid, I remember watching it like in the living room with my father and being like, that's where I want to live. Those people seem like the kind of people I want to be around. So it's changed. I mean, now it's, because what happens when the artists move into a neighborhood, it becomes hip. And so people with money move into those neighborhoods, finance people, because they want to be around the artists. And then the artists have to move out. So what happens, the artists move to Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and because there were warehouses there. And then, at some point, people with money moved in there, and then they moved farther out, and farther out, and farther. So but Soho was always significant to me. It's where the fashion industry is now. It's like if you want to go to the Louis Vuitton store, it's there, whatever, Prada store. But it is one of my favorite areas. It's got the best restaurants and a lot of great nightlife. That and like the West Village. So those areas are going to be significant in this next video, and I will be shooting it outdoors. And I'm going to start shooting it very soon. The portions that are conceptual. The parts that are performance, that's the challenge. And I have some plans for that. So we'll see how that goes. But hopefully there'll be some really cool skyline shots of New York. We'll see how that goes. And live orchestra films, so I hope it does too. I live downtown, so I'll start scouting locations. Where do you live, Brian? What part? After Hours holds up. It really does. I mean, After Hours is it's on my top 40 movie lists. So yeah, I told you I have lists. I have a top 40 list. We can go over it. But it is on my top 40 movie list, and it's still significant to me. I watch it to this day. It still does hold up, and it's kind of a dark comedy. But there was a couple other films that take place in that same neighborhood at the same time period. Another one Scorsese did. If any of you are familiar with I think it's called New York Stories. It was a film that there was 3 directors, each had a short film, and it was him. If I remember correctly, it was Francis Ford Coppola was the second one. He was the first one. Francis Ford Coppola was the second one, and Woody Allen was the third one. And the one that was significant to me was the Scorsese one, which is the first one, which is basically Nick Nolte playing an artist in Soho who's obsessing over his muse, who played by Rosanna Arquette. And Steve Buscemi's in it. It's really cool. It might be from like the late 80s or something like that. And just seeing the artists in Soho, that was what I wanted to be a part of. So, I've told people this story. I've told it in my last thing. The day I visited New York from Philadelphia, where I grew up, to see a Andy Warhol exhibit at the Museum of Modern Art. Changed my life essentially, and I that day realized I wanted to be an artist in New York. Um, and I remember going. My mother brought me, and just seeing the art, and feeling Wade feels a moment. MoMA is Museum of Modern Art. Is still my favorite museum, and it's changed a lot. Those of you who know, it's not the same as it was years ago, but I don't care. It still has such significance to me, and I don't like the way they arrange the place, especially in the most current reconstruction. It's like being in. I don't know if this is on purpose, but it's like being inside an Escher etching. Yeah, everything, there's stairs everywhere, and you end up and you're like, where am I? And then there's a wall over there that's completely empty, and you're like, why is that empty? So it's really weird, but it doesn't matter. It's got a place for me. But I went there. The Warhol exhibit itself was significant to me, and then walking out on the street, there's just artists on the street selling their art. There's creative people, things that I didn't experience back at home to any great extent. I always felt like a little bit like I didn't fit into where I was growing up in Philadelphia. I always felt like, kind of the oddball, but not in New York. I felt like that was a significant place for me and my personality. And, you know, creative people were flocking here, and they've been flocking here since World War II, because, previous to this, Paris was the center of the arts, as some of you may know, in the 1920s. And then when the occupation happened, a lot of the artists started moving to New York. And so that's when you get New York being the home of the arts for that period of time. And I mean, with the internet now, things have changed a lot, but it made an impact on me. And so seeing those films made an impact on me. Heading off now, didn't realize it was nearly 12 p.m. Yeah, you're in England. Early work tomorrow. Haha, it was great to catch up with you this live. I really enjoyed it. Take care, Rob. I will keep touch, I'm sure. Thank you, Sonny. Thank you for being here. Write to me. Let's talk. Jesse, sounds like a blast. Shooting hoops in his loft. Yes, shooting hoops in his loft. He was doing that. Nick Nolte was shooting hoops in his loft. It was great. Have to hop off now. It's late. Yes, Frank, I know you're in Germany, so it's even later for you. You got 6 hours. So wow, it's 1 a.m. for you. So yes, thank you for coming, Frank. Thank you all. If anyone else has any other questions, otherwise I will conclude this thing. And again, just to reiterate, we have this contest. Like, subscribe, whatever. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Composer and Guitarist, which is at Rob sBaR Music. The rest are at Rob sBaR, and TikTok. Send me a screenshot of the fact that you are, and put me in a Spotify playlist. Send me a link. You're eligible to win a piece of merchandise, but buy some merchandise anyway because it's cool. Buy a tumbler and drink some rum in it. Rum is my 7th favorite flavor. So, coffee is my first. So you can have some coffee and rum. And so, yeah, you can switch it out. And, there you go. And if you put some cinnamon in the coffee, you're actually getting my flavors 1 and 2. So there you go. 3, we'll have to discuss that later. But so cool. So buy some merchandise, enter the contest. Please comment on the video, be kind, and like the video and watch it a zillion times, because the more views it gets around, and I appreciate it. Send it to people. Be like, you gotta check out this guy's video. It's really weird. This guy's got mental problems. Check him out. So you'll see me. You can watch a guy torture himself. You dig? So please, do all those things. And thank you all for being here. I really appreciate the participation. I really appreciate you checking out the video and coming to the live stream. I enjoy doing these things and answering the questions. I enjoy, I really appreciate everyone's support. Please listen to it on Spotify like a zillion times, because that really helps. So just run it. I don't care. Put your computer on mute and just let it run or something. So and put it in playlists. Because that really does get it around and get, attention. So I do appreciate it. And thank you all. I really appreciate all being here. I appreciate you coming to the premiere. I appreciate you doing the live stream. And if there's any other questions, if not, see you later, Greg. If there's any other questions, otherwise I'll do some playing and we'll finish this thing up. Put the backing track back on. So let me do that. So let's see what happens. Cool. Thank you all again. Really appreciate it. Thanks for spending the last hour and a half with me and for watching the video. Please like, subscribe, the whole deal. Watch the video a zillion times. Like it, put some nice comments, and thanks for all your support. Buy some merchandise. Enter the contest. I'll see y'all soon. Thank you very much.